Good evening, everyone. So I think this is the first live session of this particular course that you're attending. As instructed to you by the coordinators, you have been allowed to raise questions both through the Excel sheet as well as the YouTube comment box. We will take the questions that come on the YouTube comment box at a later point in time. Currently, we would be addressing the questions that were raised from the Google sheet that was shared with you earlier. So, at this outset, I would welcome our course coordinator, Professor Dr. Sairam Bhat. So thank you for joining us today. Myself, Rohit Kamath. I have with me my team members, Vikas Gehlot, Ms. Madhubanti Sadia, and Ms. Liane D'Souza. All of us work at the Center for Environmental Law Research and Advocacy at National Law School. So we will be moving on to the questions going forward.
We have also Raghav in the back.
The YouTube. Yeah. So the first question that we go across to has been asked by Mr. Vishwa. Okay, so this goes on with regard to the courses on NPTEL. Basically, we will not be addressing the questions with regard to your curriculum and examination and others, because this is a question answer scenario which relates to the subject matter alone. So with regard to your queries on your admission and other aspects, I think you can address it to the concerned person. So the first question that comes across is from Ms. Divya Dwivedi. Sir, I would address this to you. In today's scenario, where media is not playing its duty, how do you think that right to information will help us? Because that also has less power.
Not sure, Madhu, would you want to answer that? Anybody else in the team wants to answer that? I think media has a lot of power, isn't it? I don't know. Yes. I somehow don't agree with that statement. And I think it was the media that brought the Right to Information Act. You will all appreciate that during the course of this session, you will see that it was the Press Council of India that prepared the first draft bill. So draft bill is before an act is passed, and it undergoes several changes before it was enacted later on in 2005. Now, even today's scenario, you will notice that we are a country that loves 24/7 news. And let us admit today that the news is not only in the paper, but it's also on television. It has moved on to social media platforms now. And let me be honest with you, we are not talking of media houses only in India. We are talking of Facebook as a media house. Your Google search engine is a media house. Microsoft is a media house. They collate information from several sources and feed it to you. The media is very powerful. So let's not undermine the role of the media in any ways. And I believe very rightly so, jurists have called the media as the fourth estate, which means it actually is one of the organs of the government, which actually gives you, listens to you, probably views you, watches you, what you do and what you don't do, and probably warns you. So I think, there are challenges with the media. So that's not what this course is all about. And to be honest, do media houses use RTI? The answer is absolutely yes. They do use RTI wherever they cannot get the information from the government due to the spokesman or the spokesperson who represent the government. They definitely use RTI. And I think the media has strengthened the RTI movement. That is what I firmly believe in. Right? And I think people like Arun Shourie, who has been a prominent journalist, a politician, have strengthened the movement in RTI. I believe, the Times Group, Bennett Coleman, they were the first who probably fought censorship by the government. There were some very interesting cases in constitutional law where a group like Bennett Coleman went to the Supreme Court and wanted the freedom of speech and expression applicable to the press. Because generally, as understood, under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution of India, freedom of speech and expression was available only to individuals, that is citizens, which is true. But can it be exercised by a group of individuals who are called the pressmen? I think Bennett Coleman has struck that note in trying to bring about press freedom in this country. Yes, there have been setbacks because naturally, like any other sector, there are black sheep in the media. For example, we have issues about the invasion of privacy by the media. We have issues about media, uh, you know, uh, hyping the news. Um sensationalization of news, if you want to call that. So I think that continues to be a challenge. Uh, Tarun Tejpal has been alleged to have committed sexual harassment at workplace. Tehelka has had some challenges, but you guys will know if some of you are from Tamil Nadu. There is a newspaper by name Nakiran, right? And they did a fantastic job in terms of even looking at what is known as the Otto Shankar case, and yeah, including the Veerappan episode. So I think it's a very positive outlook in India, and I think RTI, right to information, is also served by the media. Let me be honest. See, RTI is not about only putting application and getting this information. The press, while giving you that news, gives you that information without the RTI. So I believe media gives you information, right? And they serve that information. And they also protect your right to information by getting that news in an unbiased manner. They're supposed to, at least, right? And they have to give you, in an impartial way, without aligning to be political party. So for me, it's a very positive outlook. Yeah.
Indeed, sir. So we'll move on to the second question. So it has been asked by Mr. Jayesh Kumar Mali. He requests as to how RTI can be utilized to reduce bank frauds and money laundering cases in India. Quite a far-fetched question, but we request you to share your inputs on this thing.
Anybody else wants to come in first?
Sir, if I may be allowed, so I could just say that the whole purpose behind the right to information is to create this concept of transparency. So with the help of RTI and other, there is this public activism that it comes across, and it is only a remote setback that can come across to money laundering and your fraud related activities that we can see. RTI directly as it is may not be something that can reduce these corruptions, but with time, through the implementation of right to information and other aspects, I believe there is a trend that it might come down because there is a greater transparency, which we actually saw in the last few years, wherein a number of scams that had incurred was, taken by the press and the media. So that being the case, I'm fairly being apolitical. So that way it comes across as a particular setback for these frauds in the years to come.
To add to, yeah.
So if I may also add to what Rohit has also said, whenever we talk about the right to information, one thing that is very, very important as far as the country is concerned is understanding against whom this right can be utilized. So once we get that clear in our heads, we'll know, because many a times when we use the word right to information, we may not be well informed as to against whom can this right be exercised. So it is not the private entities, it is not the private banks. So getting to know the scope of the legislation is very, very important, and also the clear exemptions under the legislation. So as long as we know that, so we can go ahead and file the RTI application. So the right to information does not mean we can exercise it against anybody and everybody. Anybody and everybody that is using public money. It's primarily the public authorities as defined under the Act.
Also, I think it's a very good question that has been raised. Fraud in India, especially in terms of public money, is unfortunately goes unnoticed very often. I think people feel cheated from public institutions. I think while public sector banks are covered under the Right to Information Act, private banks are not directly, I repeat, not directly covered under the Right to Information Act. Now, bank frauds Okay, so let's take a few names here. I hope I'm not being going to be quoted outside. Now, Vijay Mallya is facing some challenge. He has defrauded the bank in terms of return of money, right? That's what the allegation is. Nirav Modi is another accused that we see. So we have numerous examples in the recent times where people have unfortunately not paid their dues back to the bank. Now, this is clearly a sign of regulation. It's clearly a sign of the government will to hold people accountable. Now, what does RTI do? RTI does not talk about direct accountability. The direct accountability process is what the government must do, what the RBI must do, what the regulator has to do. RTI is a citizen power, right? Now, remember, when the government does not act, the citizen can force the government to act. And how can the citizen force the government to act? By asking the right information from, say, institutions like the Reserve Bank of India, right? And thereby alerting the government that such a possible fraud or such a possible scam is actually happening. So I think an informed citizenry can prevent bank frauds in the future as we go forward, is what I personally believe in.
Yes, sir. Should we move on to the third question? This is asked by Ms. J. Kayalvili. She requests whether a minor can utilize RTI to get information.
Are you one? Are you a minor there? Are you concerned? If you're a minor, you can't join my course. Sorry. I only require adults to join my course, above 18 years. Am I right? Oh, NPTL rules, what do they say? Let's imagine now. You ought to be a citizen. And if you're born in India, you are a citizen of India and you can file an RTI. The question is, how do you do that if you're a child, right? So maybe, you can be helped by a guardian or your parent. So I don't think the Right to Information Act prohibits minors from making an application. However, it does prohibit foreigners from making application.
Yes, sir. That answers that question. So the next question we have from Mr. Vikas Yadav. Can RTI be utilized for getting information of my own, or personal information of their own?
Yeah. So this is, you're asking a personal question which cannot be answered officially. For this kind of personal consultation, please contact us after 6 p.m. and on basis of a professional fee, probably will answer this question. You can, why do you want to ask your own information? I'm a little concerned and worried. But okay, so let's put it in this way. Can a wife ask a husband's information? Okay, I'm just rephrasing your question for a little bit of sanity to myself. I think, she can definitely ask. There is no prohibition in the wife putting an RTI application. However, in that application, what can she seek and what she cannot is what the law will decide. So, you know that under the Right to Information Act, there are some exempted information, right? If it falls within the category of exempted information, obviously this information will not be given. Otherwise, there is no prohibition for a wife seeking information on her husband. But don't tell me or don't ask me what the consequences will be after she files this application. I will not be holding any responsibility for that. But yes, you can. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. I think, okay, now I realize what that means. Okay, so if you are asking your organization about your own information, right? Maybe that is the question that is coming.
Yes,
I don't know. Yeah, you can definitely. Can an employee ask his organization information about himself? Yes, he can. I think now I get the sense of the question. It's difficult to get the sense of the question.
So the next question is asked by Mr. Vaibhav Shukla. Over the years, it has been seen that there are public officers or authorities who willfully deny information, and even after fighting a hard battle for years to get such information, only actions are taken against the concerned officers. Penalty, which is maximum to up to 25,000. Kindly comment whether we should make it a penal offense or not, and also your views on the PM Cares Fund.
You want me to lose my job on giving my comment on the PM Cares Fund? That's a very tricky one. Okay, so let's go by facts. PM's Care Fund is not within RTI. The final word has been said. So I can put that thing to rest right now. So let's not go back and try and make this into a political debate. Personally, I think the PM's Care Fund should be held accountable. Okay, that's a different view. So my personal view doesn't matter. I think what we believe as lawyers and law teachers is we abide by what is the law being pronounced by the Supreme Court of India. Now, if the Supreme Court has said it does not fall within RTI, I am nobody to challenge that. I have to follow the law, and I expect you all in my course to do the same. Having said this, what was the first part? Because I only heard PM's Care. I knew that was coming.
So the first part was with regard to whether penalty should be levied from officers who default under the Act.
It is penal. Penalty is called a penal provision. What else do you want? 25,000. So fine is a penal provision. You don't have to always send people behind bars.
Yes.
Don't worry. Fine is a penal provision. It is a penalty, and that's pretty powerful tool. And let me tell you, it is the PIO or the officers that have to personally pay this fine. So it's not something that is vicariously paid by the government. So no problem. Yeah.
Yes. So we move on to the next question. So this is asked by Mr. Himanshu Gupta. There are a series of questions that have been asked. So the first question.
One participant, only one question should be entertained. One person cannot usurp my time. Anyway, go ahead. This is.
Yes, sir. So we'll just answer the first question that he has asked for. How much time is required to reply to the applicant according to the RTI Act? Sir, on this note, let me just mention all of these answers are quite clear under the rules and the Act. So anything that is straightforward, I think we can take.
They have to wait for the courts. Let them see the video. I'm sure they'll get the answer.
Yes.
Go to the next.
Yes. Sure, sir. I'll move on to the next question. So this one is asked by Mr. Sairam Dhakar. He asked, what is the role of RTI in good governance and how can it be implemented in India?
Who wants to answer this? Quick answer. Anybody?
Yes, sir. Sir, basically, when it comes across, when you're looking into polity and governance, these are really broad aspects. So one modality of looking at governance is as to whether the system is in place that allows for the functioning and the betterment of the people. So it again comes back to the roots of bringing across the aspect of transparency and public accountability. Accountability and transparency being pivotal for any system of governance to actually function, especially in the aspect of democracy, where we say rule by majority is the norm. So in order to identify that, it quite clearly shows that you identify who is the majority. So that clearly shows that there is transparency in the whole root of the concept of democracy by itself. And India being a democratic setup, if we are able to implement transparency in the minimal steps that we are taking across as a government or any other activity or a local authority, it quite clearly stimulates the actual aspect of good governance in the form of a democratic setup.
Madhu?
Sir, I'm not very sure of the question. I didn't get the question.
The question is whether, what is the role of RTI in good governance and how can it be implemented in India?
So basically the entire purpose, as Rohit rightly mentioned, was to ensure that there is transparency in the government offices. So as long as the questions that are asked, if they are not rejected on frivolous grounds by the different PIOs and the CPIOs, I think we can ensure that good governance prevails. Because many a times we have also seen from our own personal experiences when we have filed RTI applications that there have been some grounds that have been stated by the respective offices to deny information. So otherwise, the system that we have in place is quite good as long as it is implemented in a fair and manner to ensure that people. And another very important point is the Act itself states that the different public authorities can make disclosures on their own. So if they make use of that provision and make disclosures which in a way affect the public or where the public would be interested to know about the functioning of that particular public authority, then many people would have to not even file RTI applications. at least as long as those concerns are not something which are too personal to that particular person who's filing the application. So I think as long as this is one, I think a very pertinent point, as long as the applications are not just rejected on frivolous grounds.
Also, to add to what Madhu says, I believe RTA is one of the tools to ensure good governance. It's not the only tool. Okay, so I believe today we need to strengthen Lokpal. We need to strengthen the Whistleblowers Protection Act. We need to probably strengthen other legislations that may bring more accountability from the government. For example, audit reports. The CAG audit report is out yesterday. So I think it's one of the tools. I think there are significantly other tools that will bring about good governance, and I think we should all contribute towards those kinds of legislative mechanisms. RTA is just one of them.
Sir, there are a few questions which have come up from the YouTube comments. So would you want us to address those questions?
Yeah, I think I'll go with Raghav. Raghav has put out over here is about the Gram Panchayat. Yes, you can file an RTA to the Gram Panchayat, but let me tell you, RTA will not be an answer to your problem. Don't think in RTA you will get answer to all your problems. RTA only gives you information. You can ask information about A, B, and C. You cannot go to the Gram Panchayat and ask why you have given wrong entry. You cannot do that. You can get that document. Then you can go to some higher official and show that wrong entry and get it corrected. But in RTI, I cannot ask why there is a wrong entry. Okay. Is CPIO an independent office? What is the remedy if CPIO is acting under the influence of the public authority and its officials? Can you refer a landmark judgment on this? What do you mean by an independent office? He is an officer of the government first and then PIO. There's nothing like an independent office over there. So you don't require any judgment, Mr. Sharad Junjunwala. You are a designated government officer who has an additional responsibility of a public information officer. You have no independence in that sense. Yes, you have independence while dealing with the application, that's all. But you are bound by the rules and regulations of your public authority. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, one more thing with regard to this particular aspect, it could be looked into is when a CPIO is being informed by his senior official in the organization not to disclose a particular information, can he take a protection or a cue that it was denied by my senior?
Those are interdepartmental matters, not for our concern here in this course.
Yes, sir. So we'll move on to the next question. So the next question is, why do some departments not take RTI queries seriously? And what is the reason which second appeal actions are so late?
That I don't know. How should I answer that? It all depends upon departmental attitudes. Central government departments, I think, are responding to RTA pretty well. State governments probably may not. That is because of the attitude of the state government. But I think they are taking RTA seriously. And I think it's up to citizens to make these organizations accountable under this legislation, right? There are many organizations that are not citizen-oriented organizations. Please note. Okay. So they don't get too much of RTA queries. But there are a lot of organizations that are citizen-centric. A municipality is at the front of citizen services. So they are flooded with lot of application. But there are certain entities that do not interact with the citizens so much. And in those circumstances, they have very less RTA application. That's all. So I think it's a matter of time. They will fall in line.
Next query is asked by Mr. Balmorgan. So I'll only be taking a part of this question because the other part relates to a private query. So whether the information relating to transfers can be taken under the aspect or RTI?
The answer is a simple yes. Details and what is the nature, effect, where, all that has to be worked out.
Yes, sir. And the next question is by Mr. Sachin Kumar. So he requests that as per RTI Act, no information is created for supplying of information. The information available is provided to the information seeker as it is. Please explain the above provision in detail.
He has to wait for our videos to come.
Yes, sure, sir. And okay, there's another question that is asked by Mr. Abhishek Kulkarni. With the commencement of RTI Act, how much of the Official Secrets Act provisions are operational today?
Kindly wait, go through the video and then come back, please.
There's one more question that is asked by Ms. Kamali Dey. She has queried as to whether a practicing advocate can seek to file RTI application on behalf of his clients.
I'm sure she's an advocate. She should answer it herself.
Yeah.
You cannot file on behalf. You have to file it for yourself. Brief answer. Next.
The last question is, if some persons are filing multiple RTI from the same address regarding similar issues, but on different names, then what is the remedy that the PIO has?
This has been addressed in the videos. Don't worry. Wait for the relevant week video. You'll get your answers. Don't jump the hurdle. See, this is probably you're just in the first and the second week. Why are you asking questions about the 9th and the 10th week?
Yes, sir. So most of the queries are actually quite preemptive, and it has already been addressed in many of our lectures.
Have patience, guys. Have patience. It's a 12-week course.
Yes, sir. So with this, the queries on the Excel sheets have been answered, and we have a couple of questions that has been posted by Raghav. So Raghav, over to you.
Raghav, no tough questions.
Yes. Not at all, sir. This one question is asked by Mr. Saurabh Pandey, and I think he will also get this answer as in when he's going through the course. The question is something like this. Recent judgment in Subhash Agarwal case expanded the power length of exceptions under Section 8 of the Act, which can now be used by the bureaucrats to reject the information. And with recent in RTI Act and persistent vacancy in CIC, how powerful the RTI Act is now in ensuring transparency and accountability? This is the question, sir.
I want you to take my course. So I will say it is very powerful. RTI is highly powerful. Okay, so I am not going to come to this conclusion that it's not powerful. If it's not, you guys will unsubscribe from the course. But that's on the lighter part. But I think seriously, see, these are setbacks which are based on interpretation of the law. Okay. Now you will notice that as soon as a new law comes, initially there is a lot of enthusiasm. Okay, so the background is like this. When the Consumer Protection Act was passed, we had a lot of activists who were called consumer activists. Environmental law came, then became environmental law activists. Then RTI came, we became an RTI activist. Right? Then slowly as the law progresses, it gets matured. It gets its right balance. Right? Balance between what information can be given and what cannot be given. See, that no right is absolute. You cannot keep continuing saying, oh, I should enjoy an absolute right to information. I have the right to get everything. No, that cannot be the position at all. The law is going to get stabilized. Right? You have to expect that. And the courts help in those stabilization processes by making the right interpretation. Right? You cannot, beat a dead horse. Keep on saying, I have this right to information against government A, B, and C. That's not possible. Right? So I think what the court has done has only added some kind of calmness to the whole process on RTI. It has balanced the interest between what I would say between the demand side, which is consisting of citizens, and the supply side, which is consisting of bureaucrats. Right? You cannot have a government that is fearing RTI and not functioning at all. Right? People, cannot say, oh, always penalty is going to come, and that's why I won't, do my work. If I do my work, I have to give information. That kind of system also cannot work in a country like India, right? So I think it's important. So I firmly am one who does not want to criticize any of the judgments. I think it's our duty to follow what is laid down as law by the Supreme Court. It's the law of the land. Please do not forget that the Constitution very clearly says that the directions, orders, and judgments of the Supreme Court are the law of the land. Till they are reviewed and replaced by another judgment, we have the duty to follow the same. Right? And I think nowhere the Supreme Court has said that the right to information is going to dilute transparency and accountability. That is not what they mentioned at all. So let's respect the law, friends. And I think Subhash Chandra Agarwal ji has done a fantastic job by telling the cat and making even the judiciary accountable. So he deserves all our compliments. But at the same time, I think these judgments have only helped us understand RTA Act in a much better and an efficient manner.
Yes, sir. So there's one more question. I think Mr. Vikas Yadav has asked this question.
You should answer this, no?
Yeah, I'll answer this. So the question is, can we file RTI before district magistrates for all the information within the district? The answer for this is in affirmative, and it's a definite yes. Because any information that is within the custody of the district magistrate himself being the government officer, he is liable and he is also responsible to give out all the information that is asked from him. So it is definitely a yes.
But kindly note, the district magistrate has only certain sets of information. The district magistrate is not the district collector. Please don't forget and mix these two. He is not the chairman of the Jilla Panchayat. Okay, so at the district level, let me be very clear, there are different hierarchies and levels of offices. Okay, so I'm talking of Karnataka. Please note, in other states it will be slightly different. Here in Karnataka, we have the deputy commissioner who is in charge of the district. Okay, and he has most of the administrative files. He is the chief of the district. The district magistrate is on a different platform altogether. So let's not come to this conclusion that the district magistrate is in charge of the district to give you all information about the district. Sorry, that's not the case. So like Raghav said, whatever information he has pertaining to his functions is all what the DM will give you. So you should know exactly what is the function of the DM.
So there's one more question from Ms. Megha Wadkar. And the question is, it seems she has filed a grievance to the Prime Minister's office and they have transferred it to the state government.
I will not address personal problems and queries. That is for her to resolve. This is an academic course and it's not a free legal consultation. So kindly be guarded with all your queries. I am not here to address any of those. It has been 3 months. What should I do? Probably, we can give you our email ID. You can come for a legal consultation for us. Having said that, let me tell you, Megha, that RTI is efficient within the time that is prescribed in the Act if you frame your letter or application appropriately. Okay? If you don't frame your application appropriately, your application is going to go from Delhi to Bombay, Bombay to Bangalore, Bangalore to Chennai. So kindly remember, it's your cleverness, it's your understanding of the law which will help you get the information in a time-bound manner. So your application should be rightly drafted, point number 1. It should be rightly addressed to the correct PIO in the correct department to get the information in a time-bound manner. If not, it's like a ball being put from one department to another because that is where you have poorly drafted your application. Very clearly, right? So I don't think unless you have done your homework well, you will get the information in a time-bound manner. So you have to be prepared to file the right RTA application to the right organization.
Yes, sir. We have, I think we have no more questions from the YouTube channel. There's one question, I think, pertaining to Mr. Vikas Yadav has again asked the same question about information regarding environment impact assessment. So whom he can ask about is the question that he's asking.
I think you guys should answer. You are all the EIA experts now. Lian, Raghav, Madhu, please.
I'll answer that, sir. The answer definitely is with regard to the EIA. If any question pertaining to the EIA, it has to be rightfully addressed to the Ministry of Environment and Forest and the concerned secretary. So there will be different departments under that, and they are the right persons to whom the questions or the queries can be raised, and they'll be the ones who will be able to address this issue.
The simple answer is you can file this RTI petition to the concerned pollution control board. So if it's an industry that is coming up in Tamil Nadu, file your application to the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board. They will have the copy of the EIA. You can not only get EIA, you can also get the summary EIA. You can, yes. It has to be deposited in the concerned Pollution Control Board. They should have a copy of it. That's exactly where Megha should also realize that, look, government has various facets: state, center, local government. Right? There are three branches. Then government has different what ministries or subject matter divided. So it's not like I put an RTI application just to one. It's not possible that way. Now, for example, if you go to the armed forces, you have the Navy, you have the Air Force, you have you have the Army. Now, in Army, please note there is a Western Command, there is a Southern Command, there is a Northern Command. Right? So you cannot just file it to the Army headquarters in Delhi and say, I need this information. You must do your study. You must know exactly who and where this information should be. And when you do that, you get the information faster than what is in the normal process. Otherwise, generally, they get transferred from one place to another. And then finally, even your patience would have been waited.
Yes, sir. So there's one more general question. Not sure if it is pertaining to the topic, but anyhow, I'll raise this query. The query is raised from someone unknown. But the query is, do we have the right to information of knowing how many migrant workers suffered starvation due to lockdown? Do we have good governance going on, which is controlling NPAs and achieving high GDP growth?
We don't answer anonymous people, Raghu. Sorry. The person has to identify himself or herself. Otherwise, sorry, cannot be answered. No, we don't entertain anonymous persons. In RTI, I have the right to information. Who is asking this question to me? Don't deny me that right.
These are all the queries from the YouTube channel. So
let them identify themselves. What is the problem?
yeah.
Right. We'll answer that question. No problem. Okay. Yeah, sure. Great, guys. Okay, so I think let us have some concluding comments from each of our team members, because I think let the participants of the RTI course know each of us. So I think let's start with Vikas, then Geetanjali, Lian, and then we'll come to the rest three of us, Madhu, Rohit, and Raghu, because they have at least heard us three, but they have not heard the other colleagues. So this is the team, friends, that is responsible for this course. They have designed this course, they have taught in this course, and they are the ones who have prepared the assignment. So if the assignments are tough, you know whom to blame, not me. So, and let me tell you, if you should have any queries, I think these are the friends and associates of ours who are there. So this is the team that is managing this course. So feel free to talk to them, but I'll request each of them to just say a few words, and after which we can continue. So first, Vikas Gehlot. Vikas, over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear students, I hope that you have all have, for these 2-3 weeks, you had a exciting learning experience. And after these 3 weeks, if you have some questions and doubts, the discussion forum we have, you can ask your questions for there as well. But I will say that please wait for 2-3 more weeks to come, because then most of the questions will be answered ethically. You will not have to, just don't jump to those questions at this stage. That's also. I will say that by the time you will come to the 8th week, you will have a very well ending of the Right to Information Act.
Excellent. Very well said, Vikas. Let us go to Geetanjali. Geetanjali.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to address the participants. Participants, we really hope that you have a good time and also a lot of enlightenment in understanding the RTI subject. I'm pretty sure with the lot of noise about EIA and the migrant workers issues, like you've rightly raised in the comments, you will get a lot of information on how to deal with these things and on how to approach the legal, the governments per se, like sir was mentioning while answering one of the questions. So you guys are in for a treat with respect to knowledge. So good luck for you all, and we look forward to receiving your assignments and managing your queries. Thank you.
Excellent. Liam?
Yes. So I would like to say that for all those participants who have signed up for this course, the course, let me remind you, the course is very comprehensive. It gives a clear picture to what the right to information is and how the legal system has developed with respect to the right to information. So irrespective of whether you are a novice or you are a law student or even a professional in law, we can assure you that this MOOC course is a definite bridge to understand how the right to information has developed, and also probably give you a better understanding on the working of right to information in our country, especially in terms of how it serves as an effective tool for transparency and accountability. So I hope that all the candidates have great insights once this course, over the journey of this course, and we look forward to receiving any queries in this respect.
Excellent, Liam. Raghav, your final comments?
Definitely, I must thank all the participants for joining this course, because our expertise lies in this particular area. And as Professor Sairam sir is one of the leading authors or contributors on this particular topic, so I'm definitely excited about this course to be working on this particularly. And secondly, for all of you who have enrolled, I'm sure by the end of it you will be learning the nuances of basically practical application of how the RTI thing works. So I wish you all the best, guys.
Excellent. Thank you, Raghav. Rohit? Rohit?
I think we've had a small power outrage, and we are back to it. And at this point, let me just inform you that I would just take this opportunity. We have a couple of books that we have published, which is called the NLSIO book series. And we have a publication on the Right to Information Act and good governance both, which comprehensively deals with the entire reading material that may be required. So you could write to us. So we will be sharing the email ID in the YouTube link that is there as a comment. So you can write to Madam Sushila and request for a hard copy of the same, and we can take it forward from there. And in addition to this, we also keep coming regularly with publications in the form of blogs and articles and law posts and case comments. So you can find them on nlspub.ac.in. So that is a website on which we regularly publish. And we would also urge as aspiring students or practitioners in whichever form that you could, if you are willing to write and submit your blogs and views on these posts based on your curriculum and other activities, you could write to us, and we will have it reviewed by our editorial team and look across if we can have it published across on our portal as well. So with this, I think I will ask my colleague Madhubanti to give the final concluding remarks.
I would also want to inform all the participants that if anybody is interested in getting a copy of the RTI books, you could also write to us at sira@nls.ac.in. So you could also do that, and we will give you all the relevant details. And this is like a snapshot of our website, nlspub.ac.in. It houses most of our publications, which comprises of books, journals, posts. So you could also go to the website and check some of our work. And if anybody is interested in getting a copy of the RTI book, you could also write to us at sira@nls.ac.in. And in addition to this, I would just want to tell all the participants that although the country was in lockdown, we weren't. We have worked very hard in preparing for this particular course, and I hope you all have fun learning. And though we belong to a law university and we are people in the legal background, we have tried to keep the course as friendly to people who are not from the legal background. So we've tried to keep the legal jargons to a minimum. So we hope that it is very useful for all of you. And I would also want to let you know that the course does not only comprise of the RTI Act. We've also looked at various other dimensions in which the RTI could be applicable. We've also spoken about whistleblowers protection. We've looked at Official Secrets Act. We've looked at what the other jurisdictions talk about when it comes to right to information. So it is not just restricted to the Indian law. So I'm sure you will all have a great time learning. Please take this course seriously and, give in your assignments and come up with any queries that you may have. We'll be very happy to address them. This is the book on RTI.
Thank you, team. Friends, the price of this book is whatever. Don't worry about the price. But if any of you are interested and who want to have a copy of this book, you can send us an email to Seera, CEERA @nls.ac.in, and we will be able to give you a copy of this book at 500 rupees. So we will, dispatch this book to you at that cost. So let us know. We do not have many copies. We definitely do not have 3,000 odd copies. I think that is the registration for this course. We have only a few copies left. So anybody who wants to pick it up, first come, first serve basis, we'll be able to dispatch this book. Okay, so that is left to you. I think, while you see this course, and a clue from what Madhu has said, we recorded this course from our respective homes during the lockdown. So you will notice that we are not in a classroom mode. We were not able to create a great amount of interaction. But I'm sure as we go forward, we will do that. And these live sessions, I think, are very interesting. At least gets us connected to you all. So I don't mind having many more of these live sessions. And we'll be able to probably understand and appreciate this law in a much effective manner. Right? So all the very best. Thank you for your subscription. We look forward to interacting with you on a couple of more live sessions like this. Till then, a happy course view and a happy course experience is what I can wish for. Right? Yes. We can go to Rohit or to Karthik, whoever, to wind up this session.
Yeah, Karthik, if you could pitch in, can we leave the meeting? Yes. So I think we can all leave the meeting by clicking the end button.
Okay. So have we? Should we type the Seera email ID somewhere so that they can know?
Post it on the YouTube comment box.
Yeah, okay. I put it on the YouTube channel, sir.
Okay, and also the price of the book is better if you mentioned it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, friends, for joining me today evening. Thanks to Karthik as well for organizing this live session. Thanks to NPTEL for giving us a platform to interact with you all. Good evening. Bye-bye.